At 5 p.m., Arsenal take on Sheffield. Of course, the bottom placed side, they still are on 1 point. Timothy.
Yeah.
This is a Sheffield side that gave Manchester United a torrid time. If I'm to use, I'm looking forward for it.
Yeah.
They showed that they can do something
They
against
went
the
toe
top
to
sides.
toe.
They really went toe to toe in that
Yeah.
particular game.
Yeah.
They are on 1 point.
Yeah.
That is a big surprise based on last week's performance.
Yeah, Tony, and I think Sheffield performed well against Man United because they knew the opponent in Man United is weaker or is someone you can try or a team you can go against and get something, and they got their penalty, which they took well. But if they play Arsenal with that kind of space, then it's upon Arsenal to know how many goals to score.
It will certainly be very interesting. Arsenal coming in, of course, on the back of that big point that they snatched from Chelsea last time out, and of course a big win in midweek against Sevilla, which perhaps will give them a lot of confidence going into this particular one. Unfortunately for them, Gabriel Jesus, who played brilliantly,
very
to
bright,
create that
very
Martinelli
bright,
goal,
and also scored.
And also scored a brilliant one from a tight angle.
Yeah.
Now finds himself out with a hamstring injury that he sustained in that particular game. And of course, Nketiah has to come back into number 9.
Yeah.
Partey also sustained a muscle injury just before the Sevilla clash.
Yeah.
Where does Arsenal go from here?
I think it's a long way for Arsenal, and I know Arteta will be thinking about this going forward because even with Gabriel Jesus and Nketiah as the forward men for Arsenal, there is still a debate whether they can take Arsenal over the line. It looks debatable. But now with the injuries that are now creeping in almost every 2 weeks for Jesus, you might think that it's going to be a hard toll for Arsenal. So Nketiah has done a decent job. He will get the goals. But the link-up play that Gabriel Jesus brings to this team, I think, is an added advantage of Nketiah. So it's going to be a struggle for Arsenal. Of course, not for the game against Sheffield, but the long haul is going to be worrying.
It will certainly be very interesting to see how Arteta tackles that. Of course, they've missed in different spots. Even from last season, Gabriel Jesus, we know, missed for long periods where Nketiah had to deputize. This season did start as well because he was recovering from an injury, and now he's back on the injury table. So it's really frustrating for the manager that now when he starts to be able to pick a first team that he should be going forward with, the guys are starting to get injured again. So he will be perhaps telling Edu to perhaps open the checkbook once again for January. There's rumors that there will be a 60 million signing for a striker. We are not sure who. There have been rumors of Watkins and of course the Brentford striker, Ivan Toney. So there's still that. But going into tomorrow's game, of course, we'll see Nketiah back there. Of course, in goal, it now looks like the debate will be settled. But when you look at the kind of goals that David Raya conceded last week against Chelsea, especially the Modric goal, you start thinking about maybe the days of Ramsdale.
Tony, if the choice was for me to make, I think Ramsdale is still the Arsenal number 1 because of his stature and I think awareness. Raya seems to be lacking a bit in awareness. He should know that he's not a 7-foot, 8-foot goalkeeper who can impose himself, but he tries to leave his line and gets caught several times. But like we said, maybe it will take a huge mistake from Raya for Ramsdale to come back. So for now, I think the number 1 has been rubber stamped into Raya.
Interestingly, still Arsenal have the most clean sheets with 4 so far.
Yep. Arsenal have clean sheets, and I think they will get another tomorrow. They have been able to pick up. When Arsenal dominates, they really dominate and don't allow you any chance to score them.
Another point that we saw last weekend, of course, was Tomiyasu coming in for Zinchenko and playing very well.
Played very brilliant, and I think even in the midweek he was again very good. He could be having a save for that number.
Very, very interesting. Of course, that's another debate that we will wait to see what the coach does in tomorrow's fixture against the bottom side team. This should be an easier one for Arsenal compared to the other assignments that they've had so far. I think Arsenal can win it even 3-1.
Tony, I want to mention a scoreline, but don't laugh.
I've laughed before the scoreline.
I've gone for 5-0 Arsenal.
Arsenal is not accustomed to those big scores. It will be very interesting. Of course, that game kicking off at 5 p.m. You cannot afford to miss it. Arsenal are still, of course, marching ahead currently at the top echelons of the table. still showing that they have the title credentials.
Yeah.
And they're still in the race. It will be very, very interesting. Don't go anywhere. We'll be bringing you the Super Sunday.